On July 26, 1996, the Sierra County Sheriff's Office in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, receives a call from the husband of 22-year-old Kelly Garrett, who tells them he hasn't seen or heard from his wife in more than 24 hours. He and Kelly had an argument the day before. She stormed out and has been missing ever since. A deputy tells him there is little they can do. Kelly is an adult and has not been gone long enough to be considered a missing person. He is also reminded that in a highly transient area like Truth or Consequences, it's not unusual for people to come and go on a regular basis.
There's two towns. The city of Truth or Consequences, which is a very small town. Directly adjacent to it is the village of Elephant Butte. And Elephant Butte exists primarily because of the man-made reservoir there. But this little town kind of sprang up around it, just like any town will spring up around a large body of water in the middle of the desert. Maybe 1,500 people live here year-round. It's a real popular tourist attraction on holidays, upwards of 100,000 to 150,000 people that come to this lake.
It's gorgeous. It's truly God's country. You can see for 50 miles in all directions. The sunsets are killer sunsets. There's lots of space. There are older people who have retired and are looking for good weather, looking for sunshine, and a nice place to settle down. But this area has attracted a lot of folks with probably shady past. Maybe some of them want to start over and redeem themselves. Maybe other people want a new place to hang out and continue to do drugs and violence.
The day after her husband reports her missing, an employee of nearby Elephant Butte State Park brings Kelly Garrett home. The last thing she remembers is waking up in a truck on her way home.
I was so dazed and incoherent. I don't remember getting out of the truck. I remember sitting on my in-laws' front porch. My hair was a mess. I had sand everywhere. I was still in the same clothes I was in the day I left. And he was telling my in-laws and my husband about how he found me wandering around the beach. He took me to his house and gave me bread and water. Then he took me home.
Kelly tries to recall the events of the past 2 days since her husband last saw her.
We had gotten in a fight. I left and went to a friend's house. There was a bunch of friends that we all just decided we were going to all go play pool. So we went to a bunch of different bars, and we ended up out at Blue Water Saloon. Up until we got to Blue Waters, I had not been drinking at all. And when we got to Blue Waters, I had one beer. I left to take a friend of mine home and came back, drank some more of that beer.
By the end of the night, most of Kelly's friends have gone home, except for Jessie Ray.
I had known Jessie for 3 or 4 years at least. We used to go play pool all the time, and I trusted her.
Suddenly, Kelly starts to feel dizzy and asks Jessie for a lift home.
Jessie decided she was too drunk to take me back home. I remember telling her to take me to a friend of mine's house. And she said she could do that. I don't remember walking out the door. I don't remember the ride. I think I remember getting off at Jamie's house and walking around, but I couldn't find her house. So I don't remember. I did not know what had happened. I was bleeding, and I didn't know what to do. I thought that being sexually assaulted had been a possibility. I just knew I was hurt.
Kelly's husband doesn't believe her story and kicks her out of the house.
He was very angry because I couldn't remember, so there's no way I could talk him out of it.
With nowhere to go, Kelly asks the park employee to drop her off at a friend's house until her memory comes back and she can figure out what to do next.
If I would have known how to get a hold of Jessie, I would have tried to, since she was the last one I remember seeing. But I didn't know how to get a hold of her, so I couldn't, and I never seen her after that.
Desperate for answers, Kelly considers going to the police.
I didn't know what to tell them. They weren't going to believe me that I didn't know what had happened. So what was I going to tell them?
Her husband never forgives her. Humiliated by the failure of her marriage and unsure of what happened, Kelly moves out of state.
When I moved to Colorado, I tried to forget about it. But I kept having nightmares about a knife being held to my throat, or duct tape, or being tied to a table, or something. And nothing ever fit together. So I didn't know what they were all about.
Almost a year after Kelly Garrett vanishes and reappears, on July 7th, 1997, the Sierra County Sheriff's Office gets a visit from the mother of 22-year-old Marie Parker. She tells officers she hasn't heard from her daughter in days.
Marie Parker didn't live here for very long. She spent a lot of time on the streets. At one point, she borrowed a tent and took her daughters down to Elephant Butte Lake, and she was living out of a pup tent on the lake.
Police put out an APB for Marie's car and check out some of her known haunts. They learn Marie was seen at a bar in the company of an ex-boyfriend, Roy Yancey, and a friend of theirs named Jessie Ray.
Marie Parker was at the Blue Waters Saloon out on the edge of town on July 5th.
When questioned by police, Jessie Ray tells them that Marie was drunk, so she gave her a ride home. That was the last she saw of Marie.
Marie was never seen again.
With no indication of foul play, police suspect Marie left town. From July 1996 to July 1997, two young women vanished shortly after being spotted in local saloons in Elephant Butte, New Mexico. The first, Kelly Garrett, is found days later with no memory of what happened.
I was scared, but I didn't know what I was scared of, or who to be scared of. But I kept having nightmares, so life was very hard. Carried a gun for a long time.